Okay, so I'm Kayla, and I'm 18 years old. And before I actually get into what I'm going to talk about and my story and all that good stuff, I want to play a game with you guys. Have you guys ever played Never Have I Ever? Okay, so to those who don't know how to play, basically I'm going to say 3 statements. Excuse me. I'm going to say 3 statements, and whoever has never done this, you keep your finger up. If you have done this, you put your finger down. So let's say, for example, never have I ever worn glasses. Everybody who's worn glasses puts their finger down. Everybody who hasn't keeps their finger up. Y'all got it? Okay, so let's start. Never have I ever complained. If you have, you put your finger down. If you haven't, put your finger up. Never have I ever had problems in my life. Never have I ever felt pain. Okay. Now, Now, if you look around, all of us have felt this, all of us have done this, all of us have had pain. I want you to keep this little game in mind while I tell you guys my story. I grew up in West LA, and my life consisted of having a father who was super addicted to drugs, going to school where I would get bullied, then having to come back home to try to shield my baby brother away from the continuous fights that my mom and my dad had every single day. These everyday problems suffocated me to the point where I needed to let my pain out. I had so much pain in my heart that I needed to find an outlet. And the only outlet I found was myself, meaning I started self-harming when I was in 5th grade. Can you imagine an 11-year-old, a 5th grader, who's 3 years younger than you, self-harming herself every single day because she had so much pain in her heart? I had so much pain, and this pain never left, even when life threw me a new clean slate. I went to a whole brand new middle school, a middle school that only had 6th graders in it. And nobody knew my name, nobody knew my story, I was like, yes, I'm not gonna get bullied, I'm not gonna go through that again. So I take advantage of this clean slate. I make new friendships, amazing, amazing friendships. I have like family relationships with the teachers. They were like my family to me. I get involved in school activities. I was pretty well known in my school. But then I started getting bullied, and I remember thinking, great, this isn't new to me. This is not new. I know this pain, I know how this goes. So I kept self-harming. It became so bad that it became an addiction. I say an addiction because there was never a day that I didn't self-harm. Every single day, I had to do it no matter what, or I would feel this pain and this guilt in my heart for not doing it. So my addiction became so bad. And not only was I harming my physical body, something in my mind that day in 6th grade when I started getting bullied, something switched up. Meaning, I was hurting my mental state. I had a mindset of a victim mindset. I want you to keep that phrase in mind while I keep going. So my addiction became so bad that one day in 8th grade, literally your age right now, my favorite teacher found me in the school bathroom crying, pale as paper, because I also stopped eating, and self-harming all at the same time. And I remember when she came in, she saw me, and I remember the pain in her eyes. But I didn't feel pain for her. I didn't care that I was hurting her. I was like, whatever, you feel pain, you don't understand what I'm going through. I felt sorry for myself only. So I remember her picking me up, taking me by the hand, and walking to the front office, right? And then I remember her calling my parents, and I was so numb that I didn't care. I was like, whatever, tell my parents this, whatever, who cares? So she called my parents, right? And we got into a room, we sat down together. It was me, my teacher, my mom, my dad. And I remember having to tell my parents and look into their eyes and be like, you know what? I've been self-harming for years now. And I remember my dad's face and the pain he had in his eyes. And he started crying. It was the first time I ever saw my dad cry. And I just stood there. I was like, okay, I didn't care again. And I looked to my mom. My mom is still the strongest person till this day that I know. And she just shook her head and looked down. So I go home and I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm just gonna sit down with my parents. I'm gonna tell them this is why I was self-harming. We're gonna fix things. We're gonna make things better. No, there's a knock on the door. And I open the door. I look back at my mom because it's a lady in a suit. And in my head, I'm like, yo, who's this chick? So then I'm like looking at her. I look at my mom like with my face like, do you know why is she here? So I look at the lady. I'm like, can I help you? She looks at me and she's like, I'm a social worker. And I remember my face went blank and my heart dropped to my stomach. And the first thing I thought was, oh my God, they're gonna take me away from my family. And she tells me, she's like, come outside, I wanna ask you some questions. So we sit down at some stairs and she starts asking me all these questions. She's like, what do you feel? What are your emotions? What is this? What is that? And in my head, I'm like, yo, can you be quiet? I don't want to talk to you about my emotions because I never talked to anybody about my emotions. I kept things in myself, always. And I told her, I'm like, yo, I'm fine. I don't need you to be here. And she's like, no, you're not fine. So she gets up and walks away. And I go back into my apartment and I'm like, Mom, is that it? She's not going to come back, right? They're not going to take me away. She's like, no. But then there's an ambulance parked in front of my apartment building. And I remember being taken away on an ambulance bed, strapped, going to a mental facility, and having them strip me down, only have a gown, like a hospital gown on me, and them taking bobby pins out of my hair, taking my scrunchies, taking my rings, taking my necklaces, taking the laces off my shoes at the time. And in my head, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I here? So then I remember that I got in there, and there was like 7 kids there, including myself. It was the most, I don't want to say crazy experience, but the most different experience I've ever had. There was no windows. We had like reclining chairs with this weird feeling of like the blankets we had. It was like a weird cotton. And I was like, what am I doing? So then I meet this girl in there, and she asked me, she's like, why are you here? Why did they bring you here? So I tell her my story. I tell her, oh, my teacher found me like this. And I ask her, I'm like, well, why are you in here? Because she looked she didn't look like nothing was wrong with her. She didn't look sad. She didn't look depressed. And she tells me all serious and all like it was whatever. She's like, oh, I took a gun to my school and pointed it at my bully's head because I was sick and tired of getting bullied. And I remember I was like, what? Are you I was like, wait, you serious? And she's like, yeah. And I remember, oh my gosh, the feeling. I remember that day so much because I had half of an epiphany. If you know what an epiphany is, it's a realization. I had half of that. And I say half because after that, the rest of the year for 8th grade, I was clean. I became sober. I didn't self-harm for a good full few months. But my dad's addiction, remember how I said that my dad had an addiction to smoking weed? His addiction became so bad that literally every single day I would see him smoke out of our kitchen window. So it became so bad that my mom was like, you know what, I can't take it. So she took myself, my brother, and herself out to Santa Clarita to live with my uncle, my aunt, and my 2 cousins. And I remember thinking, yo, this is another clean slate. Life is giving me another clean slate. I'm going to use it. So I go to a whole brand new high school. I get into the basketball team, make an amazing friendship in that team. We were like family. But remember how I said that my mentality changed? I had a victim mindset. That mindset allowed for my pain to stay in my heart. So I started creating drama out of thin air. I don't know how, I don't know why, But I created drama, and that drama led to me smoking. That drama led to me taking other drugs. That drama led to me losing friendships like this. And for me, that was hard because I hate losing people up to this day. So I started losing friendships. I lost my whole basketball team. They didn't even want to look at me. The drama became so much that one day in 10th grade, I tried taking my life for the 3rd time by drinking a bottle of sleeping pills. And I remember that day like if it was yesterday. Because my brother was there, my little brother, who's supposed to look up to his big sister and admire his big sister, was there seeing me cry, drinking pill after pill after pill, and going to sleep. Now, maybe your pain, maybe your story doesn't compare to mine. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe your story is even worse. But the thing is, what I want you to get out of my story is all I did throughout my story, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I never tried to make myself clean. I dwelled on my pain. I used my pain as an excuse to stay at rock bottom. Remember how I said that I have the victim mindset, right? So what a victim mindset means is that when a person complains about their problems and feels way too sorry for themselves. I know every single one of you guys has problems here, no matter how big, how small. It can be something little, like not passing a test last week. Maybe you failed a class or something. Or it can be super big to the point where you're like, I need help. So, I want to ask you, the question is, with those problems, with what mental attitude are you facing those problems, if you're even facing them at all? And if you're starting to realize, you know what, Kayla, I think I have the victim mindset like what you said. Great. That's the first step to taking away that mindset, to realize that sometimes you feel too sorry for yourself. Sometimes you use your pain as an excuse to stay at rock bottom, to not want to get up and push through, to not want to keep walking. And that's the thing you have to realize. If you have that mindset, you got to realize that now. Because I reassure you that if you keep that mindset in your mind for the rest of your life, you will get nowhere in life. Now, the second step to taking that mindset away is to quit complaining about the difficulties you guys have. Like I said, it can be something small. You didn't pass the test. Okay. Now, there's a difference between complaining and talking out your problems. Complaining is, again, just saying, oh my gosh, so I went through this last week. Yo, my parents did this. They won't let me go to Sarah's party. I failed a test. I did this. I did that. But you're not, and then somebody comes up to you, you go to someone, you're like, hey, these are my problems. Can you help me out? And let's say you come to me. I give you the solution. I give you advice. But you're like, I don't want to use that. That's fine. That's complaining. And then the next week I hear you again, oh my gosh, my parents did this, my parents did that. But I gave you the solutions and you're not doing anything about it to get yourself back up. Talking it out is talking to someone that you love, someone that you can trust. And I want you to know, you know what? It's okay to feel not okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel like it's impossible. But it's not okay to sit and dwell and mope every single day about your everyday problems and not do anything about it. Be grateful. And I get in trouble when I say this because a lot of people, they're like, how do you be grateful for your problems? Why should I even be grateful for the pain I go through? You know why you should be grateful for that pain? Because you're about to enter a whole new challenge, a whole new version, a whole new chapter into your life. And you might be like, what? What is this whole version talk? Yo, I don't need this. You're about to enter a whole new path into your life. You're literally about to go into high school. And trust me, if you have that mindset right now, the only thing you're ever going to attract in high school is the most negative people you can find. Because that's what I attracted. So, that's the second step. You need to be grateful for your problems because there is a reward in the near future. The third step is to realize that every single one of you sitting here has a purpose. I know you're probably thinking, yo, we've heard this before. Motivational speakers have come to our school, told us about this whole purpose talk or whatever. I don't need this. Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you again because it hasn't been ingrained in your mind yet. Society right now is trying to push you down. trying to tell you, you know what, just go with the flow. Just follow your friends. Just do this, just do that. Follow your passion. Find what makes you happy. Find what makes you wake up every single day and make you jump at the opportunity. Find happiness. Find your purpose. And you have a purpose. So, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to repeat this after me. I have a purpose. Repeat it. I have a purpose. I have a purpose. I have a purpose. You have a what? A what? Doesn't sound like you believe it. A what? Okay, now believe it. So, I talk about mindset a lot. In my YouTube, in my Instagram, I'm always talking about mindset and how like the mental attitude you have can impact your life because it's true. I believe in mindset. I believe in mental attitude so much because I lived it. I literally lived it. I only had negative thoughts every single day. And guess what? That's the only type of energy I ever attracted in my life. I gave you 3 concepts. I can give you the tools. I can give you everything. I can give you all that advice I know. But it's up to you to decide whether you will put these 3 concepts to work and decide whether you will mature, you will grow up, you will not let this advice go through one ear and out the other, and it's up to you to think about how you're going to use your pain from now on. Statistics show that suicide is the 11th cause of death in the United States from ages 10 and up. I could have been part of those statistics. Think about that. I could have passed away the day I decided to drink those pills. I could have been part of those statistics. But my determination of finding out, why me? Why did I have anxiety? Why did I have panic attacks? Why did I cry myself to sleep every single day? Why did I get bullied? That lit a fire in me till this day. It's still burning hot. Because I faced my pain. And when I faced my pain, I found my purpose. And that's the first thing you got to do to find your purpose. Face your pain. Don't let it go to waste. Use that pain for your breakthrough. Now to end, I want to ask you something, and I want you to think about that and ponder on it every single day from now on. What are you going to do with your problems, with your hurt, with your pain? You got one life. Think about that. Just one life. You're not, when you die, you die. Sorry, to break it to you. But you really got one life. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to waste it on just being, whatever, following the crowd, doing whatever your friends are doing? Or will you try to find your own happiness and try to fulfill the purpose you have on this earth? You're never above asking for help. Never above asking for help. So what are you going to do with this one life you got? Thank you for being amazing listeners. Have a good one.